Welcome to the Grow My Officiant Business Podcast. My name is Chad Muncie, and I'm delighted to have you on the show today. This is the podcast where wedding officiants, celebrants, and wedding business owners come to learn together and take their businesses to the next level. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grow My Officiant Business Podcast and YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I want to quickly cover the 5 things that you can do right now to improve your website and help clients find your wedding officiant website faster. So, we're going to jump right in. The first thing that you can do is focus on either improving your name or improving the searchability and SEO of your name. So, what is in a good name? A good name has several characteristics. There are 2 really different kinds of names. One is using a personable name. For instance, if I called myself Chad Muncie Wedding Officiant. Chad Muncie Wedding Officiant has my name so they can identify me, and it also has Wedding Officiant so they have the search word Wedding Officiant. However, there is another way to create a name that has more searchability than just that, and there's nothing wrong with branding yourself. That's just fine. But you can also create a name. For instance, if I was in an area called Jacksonville, I could create a website called Jacksonville Weddings, or Jacksonville Beach Weddings if I was near the beach, or Jacksonville Officiant Services and Notary if I was a notary and officiant. So then, instead of putting your name in there, which people may or may not know, depends on how famous you are, they would search for the city and the keyword, and it would contain them both. For instance, the business that I created that was a beach wedding business was Beach Wedding Officiant. I also had beachweddingminister.com. So if someone was looking for an officiant or a minister near the beach, they looked for a beach wedding minister or a beach wedding officiant, and they found me. So the searchability of a name goes a long way. You want to make sure your name provides information about what you do as far as the keywords. You definitely want the keywords in there. But you also want to make sure somewhere in your name they can know what location you're at. They can know where you're at in the world, because that relates to them when they're getting wedding services, wedding officiant services, notary services, that type of thing. They need to know what area you're in. Now, if your name happens to be just your first name, Chad Muncie Notary, Chad Muncie Wedding Officiant, Chad Muncie Photography, whatever the name is on your business, and you don't have the area in there, the next portion of what I'm going to talk about will help your searchability for your area. Number 2 is H1 tags. Now, don't get scared. H1 tags, yes, is a technical term. I don't really even know why it's called a H1 tag. However, I do know what the purpose is, and I do know how it can help your website. So what you want to do is make sure if someone created your website, or if you're creating your website yourself, it doesn't matter either way. But you want to make sure every page on your website has an H1 tag. And all that is when you're building a website, just like when you build something on Google, you put text in. Well, when you're doing your website, you can actually highlight your text. Even if you're doing it on Wix or Squarespace, anything like that, you can do this yourself. But you can highlight the text, and you can tell it what tag to put on that text. So you can select paragraph 1, paragraph 3, H1, H3, and you want to choose one H1 tag for each page of your website to tell Google what that page is about. So for instance, if you have a page that is photography vendors and you are an officiant, you want to have somewhere on that page an H1 tag. It's a title tag, maybe at the top or above a paragraph, that says we offer wedding photography, or we have vendors in the so-and-so area for weddings. So for that page, Google will know that you have wedding photography or wedding vendors, and it's putting an area with it. That H1 tag tells Google what that page or that section is about. Now, another thing with H1 tags is if you are putting H1 tags on each page, you want to make sure that each page has one H1 tag. So what if you have several sections? Well, I would figure out what you want that main part of that page to be about. Some people have a 1 or 2 page website and it just has different sections. In that case, I would put the H1 tag at the top of the page, and I would put my area, I would put my location in it, and I would put exactly what I do so they know that that is what your business is about. Now, if you have a multiple page website, you can also put several H1 tags on several different pages. Even if the page isn't visible to the public when they go on your website and they can't go to the menu and see it, you can have a hidden page that Google will actually allow to be found on the search engine. So for instance, you could have one page for each major area that you serve. If you served an area called Charlotte and an area called Winston-Salem and an area called High Point, I used to live around those areas, that's why I'm using those, then you could have one page for Charlotte wedding services or Charlotte wedding officiant, and you could have information in there with keywords that contain Charlotte and wedding officiant and whatever else you do. And then you have another hidden page that Google can find, and it has a H1 tag that says Winston-Salem wedding officiant with keywords in there, wedding officiant and Winston-Salem throughout that page. And then you have another page that says High Point and an H1 tag, and so on and so forth. Those are ways that you can use H1 tags, and that is what an H1 tag is and does. And if you have a website on Wix or somewhere that you've built it yourself, go in and make sure you have an H1 tag on each page. Number 3, organize your pages and your section. Make sure that each section or each page not only has a H1 tag, but the section titles are exactly what you're talking about, and you talk about one thing in each paragraph. One thing for payment, one thing for prices, one thing for contact us, one thing for about us. Whatever your website entails, you have one paragraph section that is very to the point and talks about exactly what that section is about. That not only helps the usability of your website, but it helps when you put it on Google for it to index it and see your website properly. So make sure it is organized. You don't want your website to look like a search engine. You don't want people to have to go and search it. You want it to be laid out and them to be able to click on, wow, pricing. These are the prices. Here's how you can contact us for this package. Here's how you can contact us for this package. This is laid out really nicely. They click photography. This page is about photography. Oh, here's some of the photos that have happened. Oh, here is the photography vendors they offer. Oh, here's a contact form that will help me get in touch with those photography vendors. Everything is organized, well laid out, and that helps with everything. Number 4, the ability to differentiate what they're contacting you about. I mentioned this briefly, but I didn't tell you what it was in number 3. But number 4, the ability to differentiate what they're contacting you about. What does that mean, Chad? Well, it means when you have a contact form and it's blank and it says, contact us, name, email, phone number, and that's it. More people would contact you if they could tell you exactly what they're contacting you about. So you can do it a few ways. You can have a different contact form for different sections. So if you offer wedding officiant package A, B, and C, you can have a contact form for A, one for B, and one for C with different questions or different choices for each, because they know that you're going to get that and know exactly what they're talking about. It shortens the communication period and allows you to know exactly what they're buying, and it allows them to tell you what they want to buy. The next thing you could do if you want an all-inclusive form is use a form that you can actually have drop-downs, multiple choice, or selections, and make the form more than just name, email, phone number. Put more information into the form. Don't make it overwhelming, but at least give them choices of packages, pricing, and the other choices that you offer. Number 5, this is a big one, and most people think they've done it correctly, but most of the time they haven't covered all their bases. I'm all about details, making sure all of the details are ironed over. When you create a Google, what used to be called My Business account, now it's called Google Business Profile. When you make a Google Business Profile, you need to make sure everything's filled out. Make sure your email's in there. Make sure your phone number's in there. Make sure your hours in there. Make sure your services are in there. If you want to put your pricing in there, make sure your pricing's in there. You can use Google Business Profile almost like a social avenue as well. Actually, it's absolutely social. You can put photos and videos, and you can even post to Google Business Profile. That's just one part of making sure you're connected, making sure the details are in your Google Business Profile. You also need to make sure that you're promoting not only the Google Business Profile, but all the information that's in it. Make sure on social, all of your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, whatever accounts you have are on Facebook, your social media accounts. Make sure all of your social media accounts are not only on your website, but your Twitter as well, and your Instagram, and everywhere. Make sure your social media sites, not only are you posting on there regularly, but you're connecting them all. You're making sure all of your accounts say all of your accounts. Your website has all of your social media on it. Another thing you can do on your website directly is have a spot that shows some of your posts, have a spot that shows some of your reviews, have a spot that shows some of the things people have said on social media about you, and have a spot where you can show some of your Instagram photos that you're put up. Then have a special social media spot that gives them an H1 tag and says follow us on social or something, and allow them to know exactly all of the avenues that they can connect with you and how they can promote you. If you're doing Google reviews, you can actually go in your Google Business Profile and you can download a link that goes straight to Google Business Profile that you can put on your website. So when they click the button, it opens up another page, and it opens up the Google Business Profile review right on their screen. It needs to be connected, it needs to be promoted, and there's so much more to this, but that's all I'm going to talk about today. I hope this helped somebody, and I hope if you have any questions, reach out to me at chad@growmyofficiantbusiness.com. I'll see you next time.